Hi, this is Subfocus, and you're listening to Bass Island.
I'm so honored to welcome Subfocus here in Milan. Welcome on Bass Island.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, pleasure to be here.
It's been quite a long time since your last album, so we're really eager to know more about this upcoming one.
Yeah.
Like collabs, different tempos, what the cover is going to look like.
Okay, well, yeah, I can't give away too much about, let's say, what the cover looks like, but I've been locked in the studio a lot over the last, couple of years really, but especially over the last few months. Just getting it all finalised. I'm really in the last stages of it. I've actually got to move out of my current studio in about 10 days' time. So I've been in like all hours this week, up all night, finishing songs before I have to move. And it's sounding really cool. There's a bunch of collabs on there. Yeah, I don't want to sort of give away too many names just yet, but there's quite a few more vocal features from other people. I've been working with quite a lot of varied people. I started something with the Nero guys a while ago. I started something with Kelly from Bloc Party, the singer from Bloc Party. So trying to get quite a good variation of different types of singers and acts that might not be the most obvious people to collaborate with. And it's a mixture of sort of drum and bass, dubstep and house music basically.
Wow.
So it's kind of a step on from my last album. I want to keep pushing this multi-genre sort of sound that I've been doing over the last few years.
Tell us something about the collaboration with Alpines for your last single, Tidal Wave.
Yeah, they're a band that I've been sort of into for a little while. I started hearing bits and pieces of theirs about a year before we hooked up. And it turned out we had a mutual friend as well, so it was a nice, natural hookup. And it was really, really cool working with those guys, man. I'm a big fan of their stuff. I always go for people with, or try to find people with really unique voices, and I think Catherine from Alpines has got a very unique voice. Like no one else sounds like her, basically. So it's cool.
You originally come from a rock band. I get quite surprised how many bass music producers actually derive from rock. How's that?
Yeah, it's kind of funny, I guess. I think they're quite similar, those two styles of music. I think that when I was into rock and sort of doing band stuff when I was pretty young. I was about 11, 12 sort of thing when I started doing it. And I think at that time, that kind of music was like the most, sort of had the most energy for me. And that's what I've always been into, is like music with lots of sort of attitude and energy. And I think those two things like connect those two styles of music. Mm-hmm. So to me, you can kind of see quite, even though they're kind of apart in terms of like genres, I think they have quite a lot of similarities to them, which is why people are into the same things, I think.
Now let's get a bit deeper into the production kind of aspects. What's the most important thing in a track?
I don't know if you can say any one thing. For me, like the most important thing in a lot of my tracks is the riffs, so like the lead melodies. I always spend lots of time on. I think that's like one of the trademarks of my tracks. But I think basically there's so many different things across tracks that are important. Everything has to be in perfect balance for a track to be good. So it's kind of everything that everything's as important as each other, really.
Is there a track that always gets crowds hyped up?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of tracks that I kind of go to that always do the trick. I'm trying to think of some recent ones that, I mean, always tracks of mine like tracks like Rocket or Time Warp are tracks that I will always kind of sometimes go to in a set, and they always sort of get a great reaction. There's lots of new music I'm kind of excited about at the moment. I've got a bunch of new things from artists like a guy called Wilkinson, who's a new Ram artist, new Flux Pavilion to play. So lots of new stuff that I'm excited to play tonight.
Wonderful. I saw on your Facebook that you posted a picture a few days ago saying vinyl forever. So did you start playing, DJing with vinyls, and what do you use now to play live in your DJ sets?
Yeah, I use Record Box, which is basically this technology that Pioneer, who makes CDJs, who make the things that most people DJ on, they've created this technology that allows you to play off like memory cards. So I use that now so that I can carry 1,000+ tunes with me to a set. just in my pocket. I used to play vinyl and for years and years, and I played. I used to go and cut dub plates which are these like temporary records that you can get one-off cuts. So I had lots of my own tunes that no one else had on dub plates. But I mean, I still love vinyl, but I think in terms of playing out, technology's moved on, and I'm like always, want to embrace what the future is rather than holding on to like the old thing. But that post is really just always going to love vinyl basically. So I've still got a collection and things.
And production-wise, what did you use in the early days, and what do you use now?
I pretty much use exactly the same stuff, just different software, slightly different software. I use a program called Cubase on PC, and I have a really basic setup. I basically have a music keyboard, some speakers, which I've always had since I started. And, I've got bits and pieces of old vintage synthesizers and things like that, but the majority of my stuff gets done on a computer, so I've kind of always had that core setup, really. Mm-hmm. I love vocoders and talk boxes, basically things that make robot voices, so I kind of have a little collection of those type of things in my studio. But also basically apart from that, I use all the standard software that every producer uses nowadays, like things like Massive, which is a synthesizer. A whole bunch of stuff that I'm sure everyone else uses too.
When's the best time for you to produce? Like late at night or early in the morning? Do you lock yourself in the studio for days?
I usually stay up all night and make tunes. I was up in the studio till 8 this morning, finishing a couple of things, because like I say, I'm moving soon, so I wanted to finish a few tracks. I stay up all night usually. I find you just get more into the zone when there's like nobody calling your phone or sending you emails or anything like that. I just kind of get into it more then.
Now it's time for a sub-focus tip for young producers. What would you suggest? Okay.
There's so many little tips you can give. I think be persistent. If you want to sort of produce music, it does take a long time to get there. So persistence is key. I think when you're sending tracks to producers, I think keep it short. So I tend not to. Sometimes people will send you like 10 tracks, and it's generally doesn't. It's not the best idea. Generally, it's better just to send one amazing tune or one tune that you're really, really happy with, because people are more likely to take notice of just one song like that. Just keep at it. Basically, that's my advice to you guys.
Right, I see. Well, thank you very much. Have a great show tonight.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to it. Cheers.
Wonderful.
Thanks.